Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Bob here, and I thought I would highlight a new leveling spot today that I've been leveling at. It's in, where are we? We're in Eastern Wastes even, and there's a spot at the top of the map, north, that's got these ruined buildings here with some dudes. Oh, there's a dwarf at the back. Corbin Blackwell. Must be a quest where you have to interrogate her. Oh, it's heavy smoke. There's a dwarf at the back there being interrogated in a prison that's not really much of a prison. Let's be fair. But that's what's going on there. There's another guard. There must be a quest here to do with Corbin, wasn't there? Corbin. There's some kind of prophecy. Corbin imprisoned, being questioned by the interrogator. Who would the interrogator be? Not Theresa May. Can't be. Don't know. Anyway, yeah. It's what we're here for is these ogre mercenaries. There are some other dudes wandering around. You've got these walruses and these old forks who are a pain in the neck, because they just basically roam everywhere. They're a nightmare. Some of the walruses are still blue at this level. The all forks are not, and to be honest with you, they've just got they're not too difficult to kill, not much harder than the mercenaries, but they seem to have a few more hit points than the mercenaries. So as I think I've seen people quadding this stuff before. But as a shaman, that's not what we're doing. There's 3 mobs here. What I'm going to do is just wait for all 3 to spawn, and then I'll pull them and show you how I break them up. You know, I've got to be honest, this is probably not how you would break them up if you were... you probably wouldn't have as much success if you were, you know, a new shaman at this sort of level. But the Jaundiced Bone Bracer basically makes this pretty trivial break, essentially, because all I need to do is root, and it's all free damage. What else can we say about the camp? You need to pull up to the cliff top, up where the sea is, the ice cold waters of the Eastern Wastes. Just because of all these roamers. I have sat here yesterday. I was streaming for a bit and I had a laugh. I just had about half a dozen all forks and stuff all rooted, and you know, trying to blow them all up. But it does get a bit of a pain in the neck because you don't get much experience for them, and it just eats into your time essentially. So yeah, we wouldn't worry about that. So we're just waiting for one more here to spawn. These do damage your giant faction, all of it, but they do raise your dragon faction. So my dragon faction should be pretty high, which is quite good for future, maybe for future armor turn-ins or armor whatevers. That might be a good thing. We'll have to see. I'll have to see how that goes. You probably noticed I've kind of logged into my shaman again. I think it's just one of those things where, you know, for me anyway, once a shaman, always a shaman. And I do get brief periods where, you know, playing my enchanter kind of breaks me out of that box. But yeah, I always return, and yeah, and I'm kind of hoping to. I mean, I've actually put in some time over the last couple of days. I'm nearly at level 51, which is good, almost level 52. And we're just waiting for this spawn. Yeah, but it's always returning to the shaman. I think that's just how it is. You know, sometimes you just identify with something, whatever it may be, and it's difficult to do anything else. While we're waiting for, I don't want some dastardly quadder to come along and take my mercenaries. I feel bad about killing ogres, but you know, I'll correct it one day. Maybe one day when I've sorted out all the stuff I want to sort out, then I'll go back and correct my giant faction. So Ralosek doesn't look down upon me too badly. Come on, where's this dude? Oh, there we go. Okay, So as I said, with a JBB, all you need is root. Boom, they all come and pull them up here. I'm not sure who this camp is good for, really. Obviously Shaman, and if you're a quadra, I guess it's a good camp. I guess any class can do it. You know, anything that can split. I just think as a necromancer or an enchanter, there's probably stuff that that you'll be better off dealing with. I think probably that will net more experience and just be probably a bit more fun. There we go. Root the dudes. And there we go. As I said, I feel bad about killing ogres, but I can always rectify that one day and get back in the good books. Thingy breaks root, obviously. That's not a problem. Okay, this dude's actually hitting me harder than normal. We'll root him up. He did break on the... I don't know if there's a level range here. I should have checked, but he did break on the first... he did break on the first damage there. So yeah, maybe... Oh, ouch. Ouches. Holy smokes, my friend. He's really cross. I think this is probably the toughest guy I fought, actually. They don't normally break so much. And he was whacking me for a good amount. Even without slow. Like generally I can stand there and tank one and finish it off. But he was... this guy is a bad dude versus Dragon Ninja. Versus bad dudes versus Dragon Ninja? I think it was the game. I can't remember. Okay. Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting, I have to say. This has been a pretty tough break and normally takes so much damage. But looking at the numbers here, there's a lot of max hits there, 92. Maybe I should have chucked on an AC buff or something. But once you got them split, it's fine. It's actually pretty good XP. I mean, I see occasionally I see quite a lot of quadders around, so I don't know if this zone is has a particularly good XP modifier. I've never heard that it has particularly, but these seem to be pretty good. I mean, I've done about I don't think I'm going to stay tanking here. I've done about 40%. Over just a few hours over the last couple of days. That's pretty decent. I don't seem particularly resistant to anything either. Although, as I said, that guy over there, he was pretty tough. I think it's probably my last video before Christmas. Got family coming over and whatnot, so I always try and get in a game when I can. It depends on health, really. I think, as I always say, it always does. Particularly over Christmas time, it's quite difficult because you get a lot of people visit, and although we try and limit the disturbance, unfortunately, anything that throws me out of my, because I kind of have, I'm sure other people, I'm sure if anyone who's in my situation. Probably does something exactly the same. So I'm just preaching to the converted, but I kind of have a routine that kind of gets me through the day. You know what I'm talking about if you're chronically ill or whatever it may be. When that routine is broken, then things just go south and the health gets worse. Particularly sleep, like a sleep disturbance is an issue. I haven't been sleeping particularly well anyway lately, so yes, all that kind of stuff has an impact on health. And that kind of dictates what I do, really. I mean, I'm kind of as into the year, I'm hoping to do. I was doing like a small amount of work from home for my wife's company, but that's That's come to an end, unfortunately. So what I was hoping to do is to do a bit more on the video side of things. I'm also maybe looking at getting into video editing, so try and make the videos a bit more professional and whatnot. Yeah, I kind of hope that I've got a lot of... I guess the thing is finding interesting content to do, because, as I said before, because I've repeated so many levels with mostly Shaman, but with different characters. A lot of what I do, this is quite nice because it's a new spot that I've never been to, never recorded at before. So that's kind of the key thing, I think, with for me anyway, with keeping my interest up in doing videos, is just doing new content rather than because I mean, you know, it wasn't so bad not so long ago. You know, I didn't mind doing repeat content on the channel. There's always something different to talk about, but yeah, but I think at the moment where my motivation's been quite low, it's you know, it's been more, you know, more more important to do stuff that I haven't done before. But as I said, with me stopping doing that other work that I was doing, I'm hoping that'll give me more time to do some more video stuff, and yeah, hopefully it'll be interesting. One thing I was going to mention, as while we're here, that I was talking about on the stream yesterday was there was a recent Pantheon stream a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago now it was. But you know, weirdly, it might just be generally how I'm feeling at the moment. My enthusiasm for it was quite low. Like, I watched a bit of it, but I didn't watch all of it. Partly it was because it was the same dungeony type area that they've been showing in pretty much all the streams essentially. But I think, I mean, that's a small part of it. But I think one of the reasons why I'm kind of drifted away a bit. Obviously, you know, I'm still very excited about playing the game and getting into alpha at some point. But I think the reason why I've drifted away a bit is because I just still think it still seems so long away, so far away. Maybe they're purposely showing the same area because they don't want to spoil too much. But on the other hand, you know, I think developing an MMO, it must be a chaotic business and a bit of a nightmare. And I just think that the game is probably still some way away. I remember this time last year they were talking about alpha starting in the new year, and I was like, oh wow, that'd be awesome. You know, I might be actually playing Pantheon in the new year. Yeah, and a year later, we're still waiting for alpha to start. Although they're in pre-alpha, we're still waiting for alpha to start. So yeah, I think part of the reason why I've slightly not lost interest, but you know, I'm kind of not as following it as I was, is because it just seems like a long way away, and we all know what that's like. It's like flagellation, self-flagellation, when you're waiting for something to come out, you know. But I think I kind of, to me anyway, it looks as though the game is still some way away, and I won't be at all surprised if this time next year, while we might be in alpha or beta or whatever, I think we're still waiting for a release. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I still do. It's going to be. I mean, doing content for it's going to be interesting. I think because the two things that we've become spoiled with, I think, on P99 is, I think, firstly, you've got to look at the fact that when you come into P99 and you pick a class, you know what you're getting for all time, basically. The class is not going to be, you know, if they're following, you know, classic as much as possible. If you come in and pick a Shaman, you know that the Shaman class is not going to be nerfed. You know your Torpor's not going to be nerfed, your Slows are not going to be nerfed, etc., etc. Same with any other class. And it'd be interesting to see, like, doing commentary on the game when it comes out, doing videos and stuff. It'd be interesting to see what people are talking about and looking at, see what people's reactions are when you get nerfs and stuff, because, you know, you'll get them. I think it's unavoidable. I think that a few hundred people testing something is completely different from you know, thousands of people testing it. And also there are people out there who are just good at breaking games, you know, and if they're not in the beta testing, then yeah, these things won't come out until after. So it'd be interesting to see how they deal with nerfs. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but um, my memory of nerfing on Everquest was that they generally didn't deal with it particularly well. Lots of strange decisions for classes and stuff. Lots of like patch ups, really, that felt like patch ups, but were never addressed properly. So these nerfs just stayed in place forever, essentially. And a lot of these nerfs don't really ultimately seem to solve the problem. But maybe it just seems to make the devs feel better about, stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how we all deal with a class that we want to play and we enjoy, and a month in it gets a nerf, something gets a nerf or whatever, because people will break stuff. And because it's a live game and it's ongoing, there will be nerfs. So it'll be interesting to see how that's handled. I'm also I'm also interested to see how the customer service side of it works. There's going to be a lot of people playing all in the same zone, particularly at the start. How the raid scene works out, because if P99 has told us anything, is that you can't rely on people. Even though I've noticed that since the Sirkin thing, and I hope you're doing well, Sirkin, mate. I've always thought you was a great dude. And anyone who's casting stones should probably, think about their own sins, I think is the saying, although I've probably got it around the wrong way somewhere. But since Sirkin's gone, I noticed a couple of I think one of the GMs from one of the big guilds has said that they don't want any raid rules. They want the players to work out themselves, and that's all very well if you're in a big raid guild. I guess what that means is, secret message there is we'll get more loots. I guess if they do relax the raid rules, we just hope that I think even 2 guilds competing is not really enough. It'd be nice to see 3 or 4 guilds competing for the stuff, because then you get real competition. Because I'm not against competition, but I just have a lack of faith in people in general, and particularly people playing P99 in general. That's actually not. I think that's probably actually not fair, because there are a ton of great people on here, but I think that certainly the people who seem to be managing these things certainly have some certainly question some of the decisions that get made and the way that people behave. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see, as I said, how all that stuff works in a new game that's live, and they've got to put on support 24/7, and it'd be interesting to see if they're ready to cope with that. I'm not sure if any of the streams that you've seen lately have changed your mind. I mean, I'm going to be trying really, 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 really hard to stick with. When I say one character, like one character for a class. I'm sure I saw somewhere that dwarves were going to be allowed to be shaman. From what I've seen on the website now, that doesn't seem to be the case, which is slightly disappointing, because a dwarf shaman sounds like the most awesomest thing pretty much in the whole world, next to an ogre shaman, I guess. So I've also noticed that humans can be shamans, but I think really it's probably going to be an ogre shaman. I must confess, I'm not super duper in love with the ogre model so far. Maybe it will change. I guess what I was kind of hoping for was more of like I was hoping for Pantheon. I was hoping to go with more of a feeling of these bloody all forks. Look, all forks. I was hoping to go for more of a feeling of I guess what we would class as a traditional human shaman, like a tribal shaman. And I'm not sure if I guess it will probably be worth looking at some of the armor pieces for because a human shaman I think might be quite interesting. But I think in EverQuest anyway, it was always I think the shaman classes in general actually all felt quite tribal in their way. I think probably the trolls and the Ixars felt a bit more tribal. Although actually no, the Ixars kind of felt a bit more capitalists, weren't they? A big empire and whatnot. maybe the barbarians and the trolls always felt a bit more tribal than. So yeah, that would be quite nice to be able to create something that feels a bit like a tribal, humany tribal shaman thing, as we see in like real life. You know, I'm not sure if I'm using the right terms here, but I'm talking about you know, Eastern European kind of shamanism. Native Americans, again, I'm not sure if that's the right correct political term. It's, you know, it's so difficult to keep up. Yeah, kind of like Inuit shamans, all that kind of stuff. South American, so that'd be quite interesting if maybe there's something there. I mean, when I looked at the spells for the shaman for Pantheon, there was a bit of hope there that it wouldn't just be a regurgitated Everquest. I think with all the classes, really, there are so many different themes to work with that would make the classes so much more interesting than just giving them a strength buff or a run buff or something, you know. But and I hope we get that. I hope we do get that. I quite like the pet thing, where I think you kind of almost train up your pet. Starts off as a small pup, and it doesn't become usable until a certain level. That was quite an interesting idea. I came up with this myself, actually, a long time ago when Shaman were first talked about in Pantheon. And that was to do with, they've talked about, I know that, you know, this gets some people up some people's nose, but they talked about, sorry, I keep running around, got some fights dance at the moment. Let's invis myself and sit down. Yeah, like when Shaman were first talked about, and they were talking about giving other classes resurrection spells. I did like the idea of the Shaman, some sort of resurrection spell involving the spirits. Maybe when they resurrect you, it's like a temporary resurrection, and they resurrect you as maybe one of your ancestors, like a spiritual ancestor or something. I always thought that might be quite interesting. Or maybe like a maybe it could be like a your own spirit, like a past life thing. So they resurrect you, but I understand, you know, that they need to try not to tread on clerics' toes traditionally, what they do, etc. So I guess there should be some sort of negative impact from getting a res from a shaman. It should only be temporary though, you know. But maybe they can resurrect you as a past a past spirit of yourself, maybe, so that you so maybe you're a level or two less. Obviously, this can only be like, this could just be a temporary thing. Maybe a cleric can come along and give you a proper res so that you get all your faculties back and whatnot. But yeah, that sort of thing might be quite interesting. But that was a while ago. I'm not sure if they're still talking about giving other classes like resurrection or whatever. I honestly don't mind some crossing over a bit. I think there should be a class that focuses on a certain thing. So clerics should focus on resurrection, but I don't mind some crossover with other classes if it's not as good. I think that's fine, because I think it's while I do like each class having its own function in a group, I do think that it's also quite nice to have if you haven't got a cleric, just to have another option, even if it's not as good, you know. It'd be interesting to see how it all works. Anyway, I'm going to stop here. I hope you've enjoyed the video. This will probably be the last one before Christmas, but hopefully I've got some stuff in the stuff in the works, as it were. So hopefully you'll be seeing some new interesting stuff. Yeah, very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again. Yeah, probably after Christmas, unless you're really lucky, and it might be just before.